Guten Morgen, hier ist Herr Klog. Es ist Montag, den 12. Oktober, and we're going to go through and talk about modals a little bit and how to make commands. I did a lesson on this for in-person learners today, and a couple of kids nearly died from boredom. It was not great. So I'm going to try and really condense this and help you out with how to form these. I'll give you some more things to practice by the end of the week. But I'm not going to spend a ton of time doing commands. So we filled out together a set of notes called Kapitel 9b Chores, Wortschatz. It's back on your checklist. It says, here is the set of notes for the week of October 5th. Here this week, we're going to go down to the second page. We went through and worked with the vocab. So now we're going to talk about müssen a little bit. And here, let me see if I can switch tabs. So you should have these filled out with the different chores and some vocab about how often you do them. We're looking down now to müssen. Müssen's a modal verb, and we were talking about modal verbs back in February and March. Things that you must do. Ich muss mein Bett machen. And listen to the difference there. Ich mache mein Bett. I make the bed. Notice what I conjugate. Machen. Ich mache das Bett. But if I'm going to say I must make the bed, ich muss das Bett machen. Machen goes all the way to the end. Du musst. So I might ask you, was musst du machen? Was musst du zu Hause machen? What must you have to do at home? Yes muss. Wir müssen. Ihr müsst. Oops. The one we're going to use the most is muss. Ich muss. Or asking someone, was musst du? But here's how the rest of those conjugate out. So let's see what happens when we talk about time. And I think we already went through and did these, but I'll just review one or two. I have to vacuum today. Let's start by saying I vacuum today. Not I must, not I have to, but I vacuum. So, ich sauge heute Staub. Or Staubsaugen isn't always used as separable. Ich staubsauge heute. Let's keep it as a normal verb. But notice I conjugate staubsaugen. I want to say I have to. Look at what I need to do. I use müssen. It goes where staubsaugen is. Ich muss. Ich muss heute staubsaugen. Staubsaugen goes to the end, and this time when I do that, I don't conjugate it. I can also switch this up and say, heute muss ich staubsaugen. I don't want to mess around with where muss and staubsaugen are. Okay? Modal verb goes second thing. Other verb goes to the end, and don't conjugate it. We went through some examples. I'd maybe want to ask if you are feeling comfortable about saying things that you have to do, like ich muss mein Bett machen. Ich muss das Geschirr spülen. Ich muss mein Zimmer aufräumen. Okay, let's talk about making commands. So in English, how do we make commands? How do you tell someone to do something? You take the verb and you just don't say to. So like to go. If you want to tell someone to go away, you say go away. Right? You don't conjugate it to like he goes away. If you are talking about to play, like play soccer. Yeah, you just get rid of to play. To. In German, we have some more complicated conjugation rules, and usually I focus too much on these three different ways to give commands. The one I'm going to focus on most this year is just the you informal, talking to somebody we know, telling them to do something. And to do that, most of the time you just use the stem. And if we don't remember what the stem means, so like the stem of gehen is geh. The stem of spielen is what? Spiel. It's the part without the en. That's how you make a command. So I would say geh. Geh weg would be go away. Geh nach Hause, go home. Geh zur Schule, go to school. If I'm telling a group of people, it would be ihr geht, right? Y'all go. To do that, you just drop the ear. So you keep the T when you're talking to a group. If you're not a master at that by the end of this, I'm fine with that. When you're speaking to somebody formally, you basically form it like you're asking a question. So you would say, gehen Sie nach Hause. But the main one we're going to focus on is this do form. So this is for people you know that you're familiar with, telling them to do things. If we look, there are some that are weird. I just told you it's the stem, the part without en, but sometimes those will make changes. Like lesen, to read. The stem is les, les or les, however you want to pronounce it in English. But if I'm telling you to do it, it's least. What that is do least without the T. It's the you read, do least without a T. And there are some others that follow similarly to that, like essen is a good example. Ist, I-S-S-T, is how you would say eat. But if you want to tell someone to eat, you would say is, I-S-S. Is pizza. So down here, if we're saying like write, this would be schreibt. Schreibt. There's a T on it if we're talking to more than one person. Read back up here where it says the you informal plural, basically talking to a group, the y'all. Play, we take spielen, and we just use the stem, spiel. Let's look at a couple more. Come. Kommen Sie, if we're speaking formally. If we're talking to somebody you know, we just say komm. Listen to music. Hören Sie die Musik? Now, if I'm asking, do you hear the music? Hören Sie die Musik? It would be the same sentence. You just have to ask it differently. Hören Sie die Musik? Listen to the music. Hören Sie die Musik? Do you hear the music? Okay. Go goes to geh. Geh nach Hause. Geh zur Schule. Geh weg. Let's try a few together. If I'm telling someone to buy a cake is einen Kuchen. So my verb there is kaufen. How would I tell someone buy a cake? I start with my verb. It's kaufen. Now I told you it's the do form without st or t, or just the stem usually. Kauf einen Kuchen. And you want an exclamation point. Kauf einen Kuchen. Say it with me. Kauf einen Kuchen. Kauf einen Kuchen. Buy a cake. Come a little bit earlier. So if we're using ear, those get T's. If you mess that up, I'm not really in a concerned mode right now. But you'd say, start with your verb kommen. If you're talking to one person, it'd be kom, more than one, kommt. Kommt etwas früher. And what you're commanding someone with that is, come a little earlier. Kommt etwas früher. Exclamation point. How about play soccer? Now, if you're talking to your buddy, you'd say Spiel Fußball. Spiel Fußball. If you're talking to a group of people and you want them to play but you're not going to play, you'd say Spielt Fußball. If you're talking to someone informally and you want them to play soccer, like talking to your boss, you would say Spielen Sie Fußball. You include the Z when you're speaking formally. Down here, a little bit more of us, gehst du manchmal ins Kino. Here's what I'm going to do, you guys. I'm going to refer you to a couple of other people explaining the imperative. I don't need you to understand every nut and bolt about the process, but I do need you to have a general idea, and hopefully by the end of the week. So I'm going to put those resources out there. We're going to talk about it some more together, but eventually I'm just going to ask you to attempt to use it and not going to be really too critical on understanding the 3 different forms, okay? Ask me questions if you've got them. When I do these with you, say the phrases along with me. Hopefully this made a little bit of sense, though. So, tschüss.